Panel discussion, title Replacement of Plastic by Paper, Journey Traveled So Far and the Headwinds that we are facing. We have today 6 panelists and a moderator, and I take this privilege to invite them. Our first panelist is Mr. Jagdeep Hira. Mr. Jagdeep Hira, please come over. He is the CEO and Managing Director of Yash Paper, Pulp and Paper Technologies from Pilani. Pakka stands for Packaging with Soul, and last 2 words K are in Greek language, which means soul, and KK is the name of his ancestors. Vision of the company is to be leading provider of compostable food packaging, and Pakka has done really wonders in terms of providing disposable plates, and 30 years of working experience with mill like Build, Padamji, Quantum, etc. Our next panelist is Mr. Nayandeep Banerjee. Mr. Nayandeep Banerjee, well, as a consumer industry, he heads packaging department of Britannia, joined Nestle after completing masters from Indian Institute of Packaging, carries 14 years of rich experience with Nestle, and recognized as a global expert in hands-on experience in various industries, collaborated with diverse global multinational teams throughout the career. We have then Dr. Professor Mache. Dr. Mache, please come over. Well, people know you so well that I'll skip your introduction, right, Dr. Mache? Then we have Mr. R.V. Tendulkar from Padamji. He is a AGM R&D QC Environment, Padamji, Bachelor of Science from University of Pune. Area of interest is developing a specialty paper for use. Padamji pioneers his specialty paper in various grades of food packaging, industrial packaging. And he and his team are closely working to develop product for sustainable packaging. We have Sanjay Yadav from Century. Sanjay ji, please come over. MTech Pulp and Paper from IIT Roorkee. His expertise spans integrated processing in hardwood, various paper mill processes, and he has published several technical papers, and he has undergone technical training in various quality-related verticals in the industry. Thank you very much. We have then Mr. Vijay Patharkar. Vijay ji, are you here? Please come over. He is General Manager R&D Built Graphics, graduate from Pune Science Institute, heading QAC R&D Coating Kitchen for the past 20 years at Ballarpur, and collaborated with prestigious print houses, printing institution, R&D laboratories, and developed various grades of coated paper for graphic industry. Leveraged the ban on single-use plastic to create coated and uncoated paper for flexible packing, and working with major manufacturing to offer barrier-coated paper as a substitute. So Dr. Mache, he addresses your concern to a great extent. And we have our own Pankaj Bhai. Pankaj Bhai has done the honors in a couple of IPTA seminars, and he's a partner. People will say that Pankaj Bhai has such a vast experience in handling paper in coating stage, carton stage, running his own company, and he has lived in USA for 14 years and worked for Continental Forest Industries, joined and expanded family packaging business in India. So an expert of packaging, introduced water-based coating for paper and flexible packaging, and associated with various industry forums in the past as president of the Federation of Corrugated Box. With these words, over to Pankaj Bhai. Your presentation has to be run, right?
I'll do from here.
You'll do from here. Please give 2, 3 mics over there on the dais. No.
Well, you so rightly said that this is a place of knowledge. Saraswati Bhavan, I already feel the vibration sitting with all the elite speakers here. So thank you very much. Good opportunity. and good subject that you have selected. I have a very short 8-slide presentation, if somebody can put it on. And then we have 2 rounds of questions which are prepared. And the third round, we'll ask questions, open up for everybody to interact. Very happy with the first session in the morning. Very nicely presented the thoughts and ideas and set the tone for this entire seminar. We'll see if we can carry it forward and get some more thoughts or some more leads. So the title of this particular session is Replacement of Plastic by Paper, Journey Traveled So Far, and Headwinds Ahead. So we'll break it into 4 parts, the same sentence. First is replacement of plastic. Second is by paper. So this is the background. We're talking about replacement of plastic by paper. This is a common denominator, common background for the entire session. Then we'll talk about the journey traveled so far, meaning the replacement of plastic by paper has already started. We've seen paper cups, paper plates. Yesterday and today in dinner, the spoons were not metal. So we already started the journey. So we'll talk about journey traveled so far and the headwinds ahead. We talked earlier in the day, what are the issues with the paper in replacing plastics. So there are challenges, but we'll talk about one at a time by way of questions. I think there's some issue, but anyway, I'll just cover the presentation orally. The plastic material is a good material. We are not talking about plastic as a bad material. We're talking about plastic posing a disposable issue. Disposing of plastic is an issue. ये कोई मिट्टी का खिलौना नहीं है कि जो मिट्टी में मिल जाएगा. Plastic is a very good material, but it does not die easily. Therefore, how to dispose of plastics is the issue. Mr. Ganesh mentioned very clearly about the size of the problem, the island that they found. India also has the size of the problem. There is a study by Deloitte. I have a chart if you can find it, but the chart says India is the third. Yeah, okay. Can you go forward to the chart? Yeah, stay there. It says, yeah, okay. Thank you. It says in terms of the amount of plastic waste generated and the disposability problem, the size of the problem, they are saying China is the first, highest, second is the Philippines, and third is Mera Bharat Mahan. Then there are countries behind us, Indonesia, Malaysia, Brazil, and so forth, so on. So being the third largest country with the disposable issue, we need to urgently address the question. So therefore, I'm very happy that this organizer committee has selected this subject. My sincere thanks for giving me the opportunity, Dr. Mache, Mr. Rathi, Manish Patel, Mr. Goyal, and the organizing committee. I'm very happy to be here. It's very enlightening to talk about a subject which is development-oriented. Recyclable, biodegradable, and abundantly available is paper. We talked about that earlier in the day. Paper, this is my favorite line. Paper is the only packaging material. Paper is the only packaging material which can be grown and replenished eternally. Metal cannot do that. Plastic cannot do that. So we are fortunate to be in an industry where we can have the resource for our industry eternally renewable. We all know that every problem gives rise to a solution or opportunity, and we have gathered here to do just that. The experts here together will try to address some of these questions, and hopefully we find some leads. With that, I have 2 rounds of questions for the panel, and a third round will open up for discussion among all of us, and it's an interactive session. So first, we start with the organizer himself, Dr. Mache. Sir, your organization, CFTRI, is eyes and ears of the government on food packaging and safety issues. Migration, global migration or specific migration is a concern with paper in food contact. How do you see the road ahead for paper as it attempts to replace plastic?
Very good morning. Am I audible? Good morning, and Pankaj Bhai, thank you so much for setting the ball rolling. As I said in the morning, if you look at how the regulatory authorities are looking for this single-use application, and they have made a separate task force, basically to look from the different angle. Particularly, as Sridharji in the morning said, that there are 2 categories of the food, where the delivery and quick serving, and then another one is the normal packaging. Now, if you order food and you get food, a lot of times you get even sambar or even your tea also served in LDP pouches. A lot of times, at a lot of places you have that fun. And then the regulatory authorities also saw the same thing, and even hot sambar also is packed. That is one issue, that is a bigger issue. Now, even if you take the case of paper-based materials also, and at this point of time it is not on the radar, but it is not in a very happy state. Reason being, as he said in the morning also, so there is a sort of something coming from the packaging to the food and food to the packaging. And generally, if you look at the global migration, today we talk only on the global migration part of it. We say this much quantity is coming. But sometimes it can be 1 or 2 small components which can be very dangerous. Say for that matter, phthalates or something which comes. They are not very good. So at this point of time, from the safety point of view, number 1, when you pack the food should not change its taste to the extent where the consumer is not accepting. That is a basic premise. Another premise is it should not harm the human health. So human health with a global migration test alone will not take care of the human health. In the sense, the limits are very high in the global migration, but in the specific migration, you need to look at a very low level. Now coming back to this, these standards are not very well defined globally and not much in India. To some extent it is, and I think he is also in some of the, we are in the BIS meetings as well as in Food Authority meetings, and we discuss, deliberate, all that sort of things. But the representation from the paper industry, converters and users are there, but the paper industry representation is not that strong, and they don't, I'd say that in terms of technological development, they are not that proactive, I can say. But if that is not addressed, maybe down the line, there can be issues where, see, this is a competitive space. And somebody, as he said, somebody is developing biodegradable material, and they comes in and then say that there are problems with this and this. So at least as a industry, from the technology point of view, you should be very thorough. And I request this association to have that sort of a technical knowledge base with you, so that if somebody is representing from your side, from the technological point of view, from the safety point of view, you should have whole technical documentation ready with you. Because today you have seen the changes in regulatory affairs, which has not happened in last 20, 30 years, it is happening in last 1 or 2 years, as some of you are aware. And this pace is going to continue. So you have to be proactive in terms of safety part of it from the global and specific migration, in terms of ensuring your product is safe, and also developing a methodology proactively to take care of the consumer. Thank you, Pankaj Bhai.
Thank you, sir. Let me turn to Mr. Hira. Sir, I want to tap your vision. We want to assess the size of the opportunity here. So I give you some background numbers that I was given. Plastic waste in India is estimated at about 3.5 million tons. And the rough estimate is only 35% of this is recycled. These are estimates. So as per this estimate, the balance of 3.5 million tons is 2.25 million tons, which is the size of the disposable problem. So repeating the number, 2.25 million tons is the size of the plastic disposable waste problem in India. Indian paper market is about 26 million tons, numbers given to me, out of which about 14 million tons go for packaging. This again, an estimate. I'm sorry for the longest question, but I'm trying to assess the size of the opportunity here for the audience. Hypothetically, sir, hypothetically, if paper can successfully replace plastic fully, which may not happen, which may be a challenge, but hypothetically to assess the size of the market, let's say it is possible to replace plastic fully and replace 2.5 million tons of plastic waste disposable problem. Sir, what would you guess the paper packaging in India could grow from 14 million tons to what number? 20 million, 2 billion, 25 million? What is the size of the opportunity here, sir? Your vision.
Thank you, Pankaj Bhai, and good afternoon to all the audience presence here. So it's not a long question, but many definitions are unhidden in it. I would deliberate on the definitions first, and then we'll come back to the numbers as such. We at PECA, probably when this event was coming up and Mr. Goel called up, so the theme and our vision, company's vision, are most aligned. So we were very excited, and we have many team members here. I think 12 or 13 people, team members are here to attend this because the theme very well gels with our company's vision. Coming on to the definitions. So we talk of recyclability, Mr. Sridhar in the morning said. So it's a later stage, I would say. Refuse, reuse, recycle, biodegradable and compostable. So we are not looking at end goal per se. End goal has to be a biodegradable or compostable, because as Indians we know segregation is a hell of a challenge in India, and recyclability again is a question mark. If we talk of our inner layer, outer layer is to some extent recyclable in India. Collection system is pretty bad over here, and that needs to be thought of well while we define our product to suit it that range. So that was the definition, and then coming on to the numbers, Pankaj Bhai, I'll excite the audience with more of a numbers. Globally, if we say, Pankaj Bhai said the domestic numbers, globally if we see $360 billion flexible packaging in food packaging only is being done at the global scale. With this, the estimated, Pankaj Bhai, you asked, on the global scale, it's going to be double almost, $606 billion revenue would be generated out of this food packaging substrate per se, I would say, and it includes everything. It includes your dine-in, it includes flexible packaging, it includes takeaways as well. And out of this 606, what the prediction are there, around 37.3% is only going in bakery and confectionaries. So which is, again, if you see the food content, the bakery and confectionaries are growing at a rate, within the food commodity are growing at rate of around 67% global. So that means the chunk is shifting to that place. Pankaj Bhai asked whether it can be done. Yes, we have demonstrated, as our organization has demonstrated, to some part in delivery, takeaways, where we looked at a customer's requirement, looking from the customer's perspective, compostability. We are operating at that particular level on cutleries. Since last 5 years, we have a brand called Chuck, which is 100% compostable. Uh, Looking at then again coming up to, this is for the domestic market, but again, if we look global, everybody is looking for PFAS free. So that's again is a challenge. So challenge can be overcome, Pankaj Bhai. I think there is a need to get collaborative. And the mills are, or the organizations per se, are not going to get that target done if they individually work in that domain. So the need of collaboration with the innovation institutions, chemical suppliers, technology partners, and the customer. So it can be done. On the flexible packaging also, we are on the roadmap of developing flexible, which should be a home compost, not even a industrial compost, should be a home compost. We have developed till the industrial compost as of now, but we are looking at a bigger leap now, which should be a home compost. That
Yeah,
was it.
thank you, Mr. Hira. Very positive response you have given. I like your word, it can be done. I'm happy to hear that.
So early in the morning, somebody said, nothing is impossible. And impossible also says, I'm possible. If you spell it correctly, it's I am possible.
Nice. Positivity. Positivity. Numbers are dynamic. Like you said, depends on the definition, depends on the time. But the message from Mr. Hira is there's a potential here, there's a huge opportunity here. And those of us involved in business development, this is music to our ears. So thank you very much. Mr. Banerjee, you are a unique position in this panel. You are the representative of the end users, the brand owners. And we always say customer knows best. So from brand owners' point of view, what are the headwinds for paper to replace plastic?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Pankaj, and good afternoon, everyone. So this is, I believe, and thanks for all the CFTRI for organizing this. This is very interesting and topic, and there are a lot of dignitaries here is explaining from morning. Also, I hear a lot of good vibes on paper. For brand owner perspective, and thanks for the welcome note. You may also mention that plastic is not a bad material. So only the thing is that how we collect, segregate, and put it in proper recycle stream. This is one part of the story. Second is the plastic alternatives. When you talk about alternatives, I'll also talk about elimination of plastics for the brand owner, which is much more essential, whether it is required for the consumer or not, and then we rectify those things and eliminate those from the packaging that was there. Second is, in terms of alternative, we have paper solutions, we have recycled paper, we have compostable material, industrial composting, home composting. There are a lot of choices. And that's why, as a brand owner, it's also required, because what about packaging that we are using? Ultimately, it's going in the consumer, and it is going under the brand name, which holds all the food compliance for all the regulatory part of it. So hence, it is very, very challenging journey so far. Because I worked with, I think, many vendors in locally, globally, and they have solutions. It doesn't mean that solution is not available, But the key topic that we always be challenged is sustainability with affordability. Because when I talk about management, they always say that yes, I want plastic, alternate of plastics packaging, but is it a cost effective? Is it affordable? Can we bring something affordable? So there the question mark is, and there all the with the papers, with barrier coatings and string, it's actually enhanced. And if I ask consumer is willing to pay 1 rupee or 2 rupee extra for the packaging, the question mark is yes or yes, no. So that was the whole story lies. I'm not here as a villain of paper, but yes, paper is the right alternates which is available with us as on today. And there are a lot of innovations is going on. It's not only all the vendors, there are a lot of startup is coming into in these segments, developing. There are a lot of institute is working on various coating materials which work suitable. The another means I would also like to add one point that plastic, one 10 micron of film, which gives a mechanical strength or barrier properties. To replace with this 10 micron film with a paper, you have to go at least 50 GSM of paper. And that means we are increasing the paper GSM. So, and hence it's bit challenge of, because we have huge varieties of lines. The lines has to run. The product has to be stable inside the pack during the shelf life. That's why all the coatings comes into. Then paper also required a surface printing. We can't do reverse printing. So there are a lot of migration which Dr. Mashe also is talk about. The food compliance part of it is very challenging. And last and foremost important is the regulations. I also abide by all the regulation which is there in the markets. So overall, if I talk about, it's, yes, it's an opportunity. It's, we can, as a brand owner perspective, I'll say there is a, because we have to eliminate single-use plastic by any means, whether it is elimination or go into paper or compostable materials. We also have a target given to us as a packaging department that you have to reduce that tons of plastics and with alternatives of any paper, compostable materials. And we hope that in future, with the technology evaluation, with involvement of institutes, with startups, with vendors, we'll be able to resolve these issues. So that's all.
Yeah, thank you. So the message from you, Mr. Banerjee, is it's the need of the hour, but there are challenges ahead. And that's where the institute like CFTRI, IIP, and other institutes come into play. Together, we can have more seminars like this, discuss issues, and then come up with the solutions. Let's go to success story. Mr. Vijay Padarkar, your company has successfully replaced plastic pouches used in tobacco packaging. Paper is the part of the journey that you travel. Coating was the part of the journey that I traveled on the same success story. How has been the journey for you, sir?
It is a very interesting story, and sometimes the opportunities come, and the way they come, and the heavily they come to us. I will share one example. It is a very interesting example. In 2011, the Apex Code banned the usage of plastic on tobacco and tobacco-allied products. This happened in the January. In month of March, a gentleman came to our office along with our marketing department. And by the time we had a new machine having capacity of around 12,000 tons per month production, is a big line. And he came to meet us because there is a ban on the plastic on the that, and for the gutka, the pan masala, or all the tobacco packaging, and they want to replace, and there is no solution, and they want to survive in this industry. So when he came to see us, by the time they started using the paper in their packaging, he asked me, can you book this entire paper machine for us? Because I'm in this industry, I say that with our big customers, like, can you give order of 100 tons, 200 tons, 500 tons? This gentleman is asking us, can you book the entire machine for us? And it was a interesting question, but we also got surprised what he is talking. When we went into details, we understood that around 6.5 lakh tons of pan masala and gutka is being consumed every year, and this is being packed in 2 grams, 5 grams, 10 grams packages. And now they want to replace something of that with paper. When this happened, they did not have any knowledge how to go ahead, what paper to be used. But only one thing, plastic, when you print, looks much better, So our paper was a coated paper, it was glossy, so they approached to us. Okay. So the question came now, replacement. First question come replacement. So when this happened, in next 2 months, we got thousands of tons of orders from this industry. So when I thought that is this person was joking, but this got realized in next 2 months. Then when we interacted with this industry and how it works, because earlier we were only in publishing grades. Though we were in coated paper, it was a specialty one time. We were doing all the job for publishing. This industry totally different. Now there is going to be laminate and they will be making bobbins. So every change in that line it will have the influence on your paper that we have to take in account. And they also did not know what is to be done. Our machine was designed for heavy grammage. 70 gram used to be the minimum grammage. So they started replacing immediately with that 70. After 3-4 months, when we also started interacting with those guys and that industry, only one demand came from the industry, please reduce. So we thought we should reduce, and really I should thank to our management, because when we wanted to reduce our grammage from 70, machine was not designed for that. And we wanted to, their demand is as much as you can reduce, we want that. From 70 gram, we went directly to around 55 grams. From 50, we were ready for 50, around 45 grams also. But it was, we have to mentally prepare ourselves for that change, big change. We had to make some changes required on our machines also. We had to understand the applications of product, because in this industry, the organized sector was there. Only the organized sector was knowing how to work with paper. Unorganized sector, one is using, suppose we have a coated paper, one is printing on one's coated side. When we went to some other customers, he is printing on uncoated sides. It was a question to us, but it was learning for us also. He is trying to, he says, I am okay with this. If I am printing also on coated side, I am okay for me, but my heat seal lacquer application is getting reduced if I use coated side for that. So everybody is doing differently, and we have to make the product which is suitable for many customers in this business. That was a learning for us, and we could do it very well within that also, and that was a challenge for us. And we had to do. Suddenly what happened, you know, I never heard, we always heard that lot of dumping is happening in our paper from China, but how it is coming? It is coming with containers by ship way. A leader in this lamination industry, in 1 month, he imported almost 6,000 tons of paper, this flexible packaging paper, by air. This was the second thing. First was somebody is asking me, can you book a complete machine for us? Second person is importing that much paper by air to maintain demand of his industry. And then they are the brand owners. These people are the brand owners of that industry. When we started interacting, he put only one thing. Now you are working with 55. We are not happy with, we want to reduce it to 50. Okay. Then we decided to how to work on that. This was a good challenge and good journey, but we had to do it typically in 1 year's time from that place. Then we decided, because for that machine we need to maintain productivity also. Machine was not designed. We have to invest also. We need to have that investments are also coating techniques also. So we could do it, and really this is a big industry today. Almost you can say almost 500,000 tons of paper, 50,000 tons of paper, we do it, and almost that much paper is getting imported every year from this is the flexible packaging what we have in this. What it may be food, it may not be food, but basically we could replace the plastic on a big way with this flexible packaging paper.
Very nice, successful story. And I share your experience. we have airlifted chemical coating for heat sealing the foil, and it was never done earlier. But we booked cargoes and cargoes by air to supply the same industry, same group of people. But successful story, and like Pawan Agarwal's comment earlier, if you conceive something, make up your mind to do it, it can be done. And here is a successful story. It was done. Thank you very much, sir. Let me turn to Mr. Tendulkar. We talk about paper being porous. We talk about paper not having barrier properties, inherent barrier properties. But your company has been producing papers for decades, and you have parchment paper, glassine paper, greaseproof paper in your portfolio. How has been the journey so far for you, sir?
Good afternoon, everyone. Padamji is a specialty paper manufacturing company, first company to produce a butter paper in India. So this glassine, greaseproof, and vegetable parchment papers are produced with the softwood and hardwood pulps sourced from Scandinavian and Latin American companies. So to achieve the barrier properties and like food and greaseproof properties, it needs high mechanical treatment like high refining, super calendering, and all these things. So this technology was developed in Padamji, and then we are for last 4 decades we are successfully producing these papers and catering to the various food, pharmaceutical, as well as flexible packaging markets. Now, coming to the way forward, we are looking to remove the single-use plastics as well as replacing single-use plastic as well as multi-layer packagings. So we are working on it, and we have a wide range of products with us, and with the various chemical suppliers, coating suppliers, we are developing these products. So we could definitely achieve some kind of replacement of plastics with our products.
Thank you. Another successful story. For years you've been doing this.
Yes, yes.
You know, we know paper as a weak barrier property material, but you have overcome the challenge. This is what we are talking about. What are the challenges and what can be done? Mr. Sridhar, if I may ask you a question, sir, if you don't mind. OGR paper has its own requirement to retard migration. What are the parameters where paper is yet to meet plastic performance? We have example of Padamji, what they are doing. Other barrier coatings are available. But in terms of sustainability and your overall vision, what are the parameters of paper yet to match plastic?
Okay. As far as barrier is concerned, I would say definitely on oxygen transmission, we are nowhere near. Whoever you talk to, none of them have yet come up on OTR. Some work has happened on WTR, so that can probably look at it. But everything has to go through what the government calls the recyclability proof or the compostability proof. So selects the European one, which has come up with a recyclability measure. That is something which, CPPRA and we have also been talking about. And so it has to be, so the government will now say CPPRA has to clear it. Only if they declare that it is recyclable up to beyond so much of percentage, then it will be considered. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
All right, sir. Sir, on OTR. So OTR is very important for food packaging, sir. So as long as we are not anywhere near plastic on OTR, oxygen transmission rate, we have a journey to travel yet to get there. Vijay, sir, taking a cue from your success on tobacco pouches, going from all plastic to no plastic, do you feel the government should ban plastic packaging to promote alternates like they did for tobacco packaging?
See, every Environment Day, okay, we see in all our newspapers. Hello? Every Environment Day, we see lot of government advertising saying that one-time plastic use is totally banned. But actually it is not happening. If government does that only, then a lot of work we can do more on that also. We see that if you go to vegetable market, sometimes no plastic bags, there will be, the people will be moving, the agencies will be moving, they will be stopping to give these, distribute this. But after 1 month, we find that you will find all the things available in the market. So unless we take up with the government and what they claim to have, whatever the policies they have laid on, if they try to implement it, then we can play bigger role. In the cup stock also, earlier we have now developed solutions with a normal, with different other coatings which are sustainable. But P still a major. And again problem is, how do person who is a picker, who is going to pick all these things, how does he understand what is a P packed and which is a sustainable, or you can say PLA or something other packed? How to differentiate between that also? If you do not differentiate between that, then probably whatever you are going to collect also, if you mix that plastic together, then सभी काम किया उसके पानी फिरने का काम है. So these are the two things what, if the government does, definitely they ban the plastic one by one, then we should be able to replace with some other solutions which are sustainable.
So there are two sides of the coin. On one side, the success story of tobacco packaging is government put a ban and implemented, and industry responded, and alternate was found. That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is when the ban comes in the picture, if the industry is not ready to provide solution or the alternate solution is more expensive, then there is a pushback. And when the pushback happens, there is a dilution of the order. When the dilution of the order happens, it gets delayed, and then it gets diluted. So therefore, there are two sides of the coin. But wherever the government can put a complete ban, somehow or the other we have a resiliency and we respond. But good learning, good learning. Sir, Ashok Kumar sir, may I ask you a question? Okay. Paper is well known as a recyclable and biodegradable material, but it is combustible. There are applications such as defense applications or firecracker packaging where non-combustibility is a desired property. Can paper be made non-combustible?
I don't have any specific answer for this, but taking a cue from what Mr. Sridhar said, I'd just like to extend that. See, let us be realistic. Plastic has so many versatile uses. If you go into any food mall, you will see there are applications from very simple to very complex one. Paper cannot do everything, at least we are not ready yet. There are certain things which we have done, like say paper bags, that also paper bags which does not have high barrier properties, right? We are slowly developing, like say straw paper is available, right? Paper cups to a large extent is available. But if we, as Mr. Sridhar rightly mentioned, OTR is such a big issue because that has to do something with the food spoilage. MVTR, we have also made paper with MVTR. So it will take time. There are challenges, there are opportunities. But as Mr. Banerjee said, economics and cost becomes an important factor. To my mind, at least at this point of time, paper is never, at least, going to be cheaper as far as the alternative to plastic is concerned. It is not. For the kind of applications we are looking. We try to develop some paper for curry packaging. We were, successful to some extent, but the kind of curries that we have in India, if you want to do it in paper-based products, unless you have very high barrier properties, say something like oil hold out time. Many people, will go develop product, you will measure kit and you will be happy. But if you see oil hold out time for certain products is so critical. So we have to work together, as somebody mentioned, it has to be collaborative efforts. Many times for last 3 years, we are trying to develop, a number of suppliers come to us that we have this product and that product. We have tried all of them, so far we have not successful. In fact, we would invite, paper industry would invite the suppliers to come, work with them. We don't have a right coating machinery, some of this. So these things will develop. So we have to have a lot of patience. Now, if government bans something, the other party will also come say, do you have the alternative available? For certain things, yes. For number of applications where barrier properties of high order are required, that paper at least to that extent is not available. But we have started, number of alternatives for some applications are available, but it's a very, very diverse field. The application of food packaging, if you see, now like on the shelf, as I said, even if what the material you buy, you will see from, oily products, you will find liquid products, and plastic by nature is such a wonderful material, all materials are going to stay, in some form or the other. So we have to find out where we fit in, where our space is. We have to develop right products, and let's try to do something which is easily can be done, and then move towards the higher value as far as the application is concerned. Combustibility, I will come back to you. We are doing some work, but not successful so far.
All right, sir. Thank you. Mr. Yadav, Sanjay Yadav, taking a cue from what has been said so far, food packaging and paper ultimately means flexible packaging, pouches. It's not cartons, it's not bags, it's pouches. So flexible packaging challenges for paper in meeting functional requirements. How can industry address these issues? Your experience, your views on how to do this?
A very good afternoon to all of you. It's really a great honor and pleasure to be part of this discussion. I truly believe that paper industry can give the sustainable solution against single-use plastic, which is major concern for the environment, because plastic that escapes from collection, it goes to the ocean. So environment is the major concern. Why? Because the plastic is non-biodegradable and non-compostable. So if you look at the paper, it is biodegradable, it's a compostable, it's a recyclable, and on the top of that, it's a renewable. So paper industry gave a solution in the field of this disposal cups, bowls, carry bags, liquid packaging, molded cup bags, OZR paper. But if you look at the food and non-food sector, where there is a requirement to develop the paper against the flexible packaging, so there is a lot of work is going on with three types of mainly raw material. One is monoplastic material, because plastic industry is also working, because there is a global commitment of circular economy for plastic in which it never becomes waste. Another one is bioplastic. This is a biodegradable plastic, because plastic industry is also working on the biodegradable option. And third one is the paper and fiber based. But out of these three, the paper based packaging has gained popularity. It is become one of the major choice for most of the brand owner from sustainability point of view. But if you look at the raw paper, it is hygroscopic in nature, because due to the nature of this cellulose and hemicellulose, so it don't meet the functional requirement of the flexible packaging. So the now major challenge in front of us to choose the appropriate biodegradable material which can be combined with paper to meet the functional properties, and which may vary as per the nature of the food which is to be packed, because it depends upon the shelf life of the product. And if you look at the specific requirement, already it has been discussed that MVTR is required, OTR is required, but apart from that, the MVTR and OTR plays a very important role if you look at the flexible packaging. And there is a strict requirement in case of MVTR and OTR, it is less than 0.5 to 1. So, and it is very difficult to achieve. Apart from that, the food contact compliance, it plays a very important role. And there are various food contact compliance. If you look at the US and European had already given the guidelines about the migrations of the heavy metal contents and the specific metal contents. And now they are just demanding the PFAS free, because if you look at the OZR paper, so it was being developed through the chlorofluorocarbon. But if you look at its property, so it takes around more than 1,000 years to break down. So that's why European has banned this PFAS. Apart from this, the mechanical properties is also important because if it falls from certain height, so if it may got burst. So mechanical properties plays a very important role. And last but not least, the heat sealing and the runnability of the packing material in the filling lines. So development against the flexible plastic packaging being used for the food item which are having longer shelf life is the major challenge with respect to the critical barrier properties. And if you look at the paper, paper is porous. So oxygen can easily pass on it, so it is not desirable for the food. Because if we would like to just test the shelf life of the food, so it depends upon this maximum tolerance of the moisture as well as the oxygen. So from that, this MVTR and OTR is calculated how it is required because it differs material to material. So if you take the example of nuts, snacks, chips, it's around 15 to 75 ppm. If you look at the baby foods, it's around 15 ppm, and in case of coffee, it is 20 ppm. So to achieve desired OTR, so collaboration with leading supplier and as well as the machine supplier, because application is very important. Because nowadays the many industries are following this air knife coating also. But apart from air knife, rotograver is also giving the best result, I can say. And apart from these functional properties, we also need to ensure that there should not be any migration of toxic contaminants to the food item, and in which regulations are being strengthened by the government as well as the leading governments. But if you look at the compliance part, so we need to just collaborate with the leading chemical supplier as well as the institute like CFTRI. So based on that, we can able to know that how this migration can affect this base, and which property we need to just maintain so that there should not be migration. Because if we are doing the coating, that coating has to be as per the compliance of the food, because if that coating is not migrating that toxic compounds to the food, so it may not be effective. So solving of desired barrier properties under specified food compliance is the key to success. End-to-end value chain needs to be built up for flexible packaging with cost competitiveness compared to plastic. Paper alone cannot meet the requirement. And if you look at the plastic also, it's also a combination of different substrate and coating to reach the required functional properties of the food item. For example, PE, BOPP plus barrier coating plus metallized coating, and on the top of that, heat sealing coating is there. So because PE is having the poor oxygen barrier, and if you look at the other material, the aluminum foil, ethylene, vinyl alcohol, metallized coating are having the good oxygen barrier. So if you just club these material with this piece, and then that's why you are getting this MVTR. So same way we need to look at the paper also. So that's why more cross-functional technical collaboration and ecosystem approach with leading chemical supplier and coating machine supplier are required to accelerate sustainable flexible paper solution, because as there is no ready-made solution, and it is required to a lot of many trials to get the desired barrier properties. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yadav. I think we're running short of time, and we need to open this up for audience to ask questions. So if I can cut the panel discussion short, if you don't mind, and ask if audience has any questions.
This is Aditya. My question is for the Mr. Patarkar and Mr. Jagdeep Hira specifically. We have been talking a lot about the single-use plastics and getting the barrier properties. But my question is beyond that. My question is how the mills are actually putting up the money or the investment to bring out the base paper that is actually desired to be used for these coatings, because the stretchability is one major factor that the plastic and paper are far off. Then there are the coating equipments and the coatings which are going in at different speed. There is a different kind of flow that happens with each and every chemistry, and that has to work with the polarity of the fiber. So how the industry is gearing up for the investment for these kind of technology to get accepted at your end, sir?
Answer your question. If any company or any person will not be only one thing, I would prefer the other way, that when we want to work for us, we need to understand the customer first. If the customer is having printing machine, what kind of printing machine is having? He is having converting machines, what kind of converting machine is having? And when you are try to understand or develop a product, when you are making changes at our back end, we should always think of what is going to happen across all these processes. If we think on that, it is possible. See what happens, as we explained to you just in our, also in flexible packaging, when this started in 2011-12, our laminate cost used to be, paper laminate cost used to be 1.5 times higher with that cost. But there is another hitch in that. In plastic pouching, you cannot increase the speed beyond certain things. But with paper, from 300 pouches per minute, now they are pouching to 1,500 pouches per minute. That is the change what we could do with a paper in that plastic. Nobody was ready for packaging from plastic to paper that time. It was compulsion. But as first came replacement, then reduction, and then cost. It came, and when we worked all together, it was possible that we could reduce the cost also. Similarly, if you want to design, then we have to take other partners also. Chemical suppliers will be there, that printing suppliers will be there, printing machine suppliers will be there, ink suppliers will be there. We have to combinedly work together. Then only it is possible to give the solution what we want to have, is my understanding.
Good afternoon. Mr. Patharkar mentioned that we need a ban, and a success story of replacing the pan masala packaging with paper is based on an absolute ban. I think as an industry, it is not right for us to expect that something should be banned and then we can be successful. Plastic grew at the cost of paper. Paper had a few hundred years lead over plastic. Plastic packaging only came in the 1960s. And yet in many spaces, without paper being banned, they could go ahead because they offered value to their customers. That's an approach the paper industry needs to take. We have not built scale. We are saying if there is scale, we will have economies. A lot of new age industries offer the customer a price. They burn money. Yes, they have people who are willing to fund that. But they burn a lot of money. They offer value. They offer a price which is only possible at scale, even without scale. And that's how the market is built. Why are we not learning from some of those industries and trying to regain what was the dominant position we had in the packaging industry? I mean, to imagine that an industry which is 60, 70 years old, plastic, could overtake us in so many different spheres, including a simple thing like a paper bag. Not only that, where is the paper industry going wrong? In packing paper itself, reams of paper, bundles of paper, reels of paper, we have started using plastic instead of paper. I don't think there's a functional issue there. There is a thinking issue here.
Sir, we respect your opinion. It is not easily replaceable because it has many functions which paper cannot give. But organizing this collection and recycling in the plastic industry is making a problem for our existence. That's why these things are happening, in my opinion, nothing else. So we need to increase the recyclability of plastic. It should not be everywhere. That should be collected and recycled and reused. That is our understanding, nothing else.
I would like to add to this that 30, 40 years when you said plastic, paper was only the packaging material. Yes, we were in the packaging industry of the bread, biscuits, butter and chocolates. Plastic was not there, but over the period of the time, as everybody knows the plastic and paper, they have totally opposite properties, and plastic has taken over the various lot of this thing, and it has entered to everybody's life. Everybody cannot think chocolate without plastic, shampoo sachet without plastic. So everybody's lifestyle has become plastic. So when we are developing these products, we have to take care in the mind that how to achieve these properties in the paper. So this is a time-taking process, and we will definitely achieve something out of it.
But the difference I want to point out, when plastic paper is trying to replace plastic, plastic is a problem material from disposability point of view. So we need to solve that problem. When paper replaced wood, for example, for packaging, there was no ban on wood. Paper became a economically viable, better performing material, so it replaced naturally. Like plastic replaced paper naturally. But when there is a national problem, there is a calamity, need to address it differently. So there is a difference here. Sir.
Okay.
Pankaj bhai, onto it, the question was very prudent and apt. What taken over from paper to plastic is to be a responsible citizen, and we had played with our lives. So carcinogenicity, everybody knows when the plastic gets in contact with hot substance, the carcinogenic chemicals will go in. But the prudent is the pricing took over, not the plastic took over. It was pricing which took over the paper. Thank you.
Panelists, I just want to share my experience. I'm Sanjeev Jain from Maxim Chemicals. We are into business of barrier coating chemicals from last couple of years. And we've been very active from last 1 year, and I want to share my experience. Like when it comes to plastic, like to Mr. Gupta's point, plastic has got some inherent advantage over paper. So it's just not that it took over by virtue of, that the paper could not achieve those properties. It's just that plastic has some inherent advantage of, giving you OTR, MVTR, without playing much with the plastic itself, because these are the inbuilt benefits or inherent benefits with the plastic. So that is why it took some time. Now, when plastic took over paper in 1960s, no one thought about the compostability and recyclability because that was never a challenge. It's like, drinking water. We were drinking water from the tap earlier. Then suddenly everyone was talking about high hardness, health, issues with the tap water because the water was not treated properly. Then everyone started having Bisleri or so on and so forth. Similarly with the plastic. But at the same time, someone mentioned in the morning, like it has to be collaborative efforts. I can give you one example, that there are a lot of people involved in molded, products. And we are also engaged with some of those suppliers. Earlier, people were using this OGR chemical, which had fluorine in it. And what was happening, this has been going on for a while, like from last couple of years. Then suddenly Europe realized that this OGR chemical has got some fluorine in it. And they started analyzing it, and they realized that it has got PFAS chemicals, which are forever chemicals, which are carcinogenic properties in it, which causes cancer in your body. Then suddenly there was a ban in Europe sometime last year, then US also banned, and then people started talking about having PFAS-free chemicals. So people like us, like those who were into barrier coating chemicals, started working around it. We came out with the chemistry, other people are also working. And now you see there are suppliers which are coming out with PFAS-free chemicals because US and Europe have banned it. So it was a collaborative effort with the molded fiber products and the chemical suppliers and some technology partners. Ultimately, we came out with the solutions. So in my opinion, there are low-hanging fruits in the market. We may not achieve 100% replacement of plastic now, but with collaborative efforts, we can continue to grow. Now there is just one example that now we have PFAS-free chemicals for OGR, not only for molded fiber, even for offline coating. We are already working with few paper chemical manufacture, mills here in India, as well as outside. So it's a long way to go, but I think we need to start that process and we need to catch out of those low-hanging fruits. Thank you. It was just more of a comment than a question. Thank you.
Everyone, I am Dhiren Mehta, Director ASFA Board. I have one question to all of you. Pankaj bhai, as you just mentioned in your address earlier, that of all the plastic which is generated in India, about 37% is not biodegradable, which by the quantum you mentioned is about 2.6 million tons. And going by the capacity you mentioned about the production of paper in India is about 26 million tons. So I am looking at replacing 2.6 million ton, which is only 10% of the paper industry capacity. Can we not come up with some solution to replace that plastic with paper? It will be only 10% of our total production capacity as of now.
I would say engineered material, no doubt about it. So paper as a cellulose do lag on certain properties. As Gupta ji mentioned, stretchability is one. Apart from other properties, WVTR, OTR, the industry is working. That's why we are here. The industry is working. Only thing what needs to be cracked, because plastic is suited for each and every per se food component, liquid, solid, it's one for all, I would say. Organization needs to work on a particular aspect where they need to crack that particular aspect. Paper cannot be suited for all. So any development related to organization, whosoever is working, should target at least one product, work on it, get it onto that, and then move further. Can be done. It's a long cut short story, but again, organizations are working on it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We are talking of 2.6, 2.5 million tons of plastic remaining unused or not recycled. So, but we are forgetting one fact, that plastic fired boilers, they are coming in great number with all safety precautions. In Gujarat, so many industries have put it up, in Vapi or in Surat or at many places. Cement industry is using it. So in certain cases, and again the food items, the plastic, we use and throw it out, or it is ultimately to be collected by the municipality. They don't do it, it goes to the gutter, and then it chokes all the system. The problem is with the plastic, or problem is with the municipality who is not cleaning the streets, and it is jamming the whole system. So how do we go? It is a complex problem, I agree. But how do we go? And when plastic firing is possible technically, it will save us coal, it will save us so many liters of diesel to transport this from mine to this, or Indonesia to paper mill, or any other places. We can.
So there's a secondary use. So initially, the food packaging going with the plastic. So that where we are coming in from. Plastic, no doubt, people are, so burning is very easy, low-hanging fruit, I would say. Whosoever is in the plastic development are working on biodegradability of the plastic as well, reusability of the plastic as well. But for paper industry, as a paper industry, the race is with plastic and other materials also, starches, we are forgetting that also, proteins. So paper industry has to grow up to that level to match on properties and the pricing both. Thank you.
Sir, good afternoon.
Just small point to make, just a brief comment. Nothing to do with the plastic or paper, but the plastic wonder material is given to the non-so responsible citizens. And we always say that municipal or government should do something. But if basically as a citizen, if at the source, if you are able to segregate, either paper or even plastic also cannot create a problem. But it is problem is with us, and then we put that blame, my neighbor should do, I should not do it. If that problem is solved, each consumer, if he takes his call, plastic also will not create problem. Thank you.
I think that's the same point I want to make it. That if we collect it, segregate it, and put it in proper recycle stream, it is not bad material. the way that we are thinking, we are also thinking that compostable material is very good, but we are also somewhere promoting littering there, because the consumer mind, it is there that it is a compostable material. If we throw in the environment, it will degrade, but it will not degrade if we don't give a proper environment for that. So this is the challenge that we have. The compostable material is not the solution. Even paper, if we are working on different compostable grade or recycle, it has to collect it and segregate it. Even industrial composting grade, it has to be collected. The industrial composting setup has to build up. So then only this material can be sorted in a proper way. Thank you.
We'll take one last question in the back. Sir, there's a question in the back. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I just want to ask, as we are telling that we want to replace single-use plastic, and plastic people are saying that the paper industry is cutting the trees. Is there anything collaborative we can do both together?
Speaking on behalf of paper industry in India, we don't cut too many trees. We are recycle paper industry. So,
Yes.
But yes, somewhere in the world, trees are cut. But as the recyclability increases, the trees are cut proportionally less. But somebody else may want to. Yes.
So collaboratively, can we do something with plastic industry and paper together to make it a solution for all?
Yeah, I would like to add packaging. Someone has talked about low-hanging fruits. Low-hanging fruits for us is where we don't need a barrier properties. So paper can be easily replaceable. Come back to your point, because I am connected with a few of the startups company who is in India, surprisingly in India and globally there is there, and they are promoting tree-free packaging. And the way that I am coming into that point, I am not talking about the trees linked to the cutting trees, because there are regulations, everyone is following the regulations and manufacture those. But there are solutions available where there are agri-waste which been abundant in the environment that also contain a high percent of cellulose that can also could be a source of pulp that can be replaced paper even. So we are talking a third generation solution which is also available. So we need to open our minds in a positive mindset, and then we have to think that which one is working good for us. Solution is available. We not necessarily we have to cut trees. We have a solution which we can take it from the environment and returning back to the environment. That's the thing.
I think we need to close this.
Thank you so much.
I think we need to close this.
Just with this forum, I just want to inform that government is making a national action plan for recovery of the paper. At present moment, we are recovering just only around 50% waste paper, and we are depending on the imported waste paper. The government is making a plan to improve the recovery rate in the country, and at present it is 50, and we are targeting to increase up to the 65 to 70%. And we are doing the work for the, at present moment, we are procuring around 8 to 10 million ton imported waste paper. In this way, we are pumping a good amount of money from here to the European countries and overseas countries. So we have to improve our recovery rate, and for this, all the paper at present moment, a good amount is going to the municipal solid waste. We have to recover it from there and prior to going to the municipal solid waste. Once it has gone to municipal solid waste, it is very difficult to recover it from there because its quality get deteriorated. Thank you.
All the panelists, Pankaj Bhai, we had a spectrum of experts from paper industry, research from CFTRI, somebody who did innovation, actual user, and with Pankaj Bhai with a variety of experience in packaging industry. With this, thank you very much for all being here. We come to the closure of the session. A few niceties. Pankaj Bhai as a chairman or moderator, please come forward and offer a plaque and a gift to the Mr. Tendulkar, please come forward. Mr. Jagdeep Hira. Dr. Mache, please come forward. Mr. Patharkar, please. can I request Mr. Ganesh Bhatti, our president, to come and offer a memento to Pankaj Bhai? And everybody to please come forward. Mr. Please, Shelley. Please come forward for a group photograph. I'm sorry, let this group photograph happen. There has been a terrible slip on my part. So, Shelley, are you able to arrange it? Yeah. So, good one. We had arranged a memento for each speaker. So, in the over-excitement of the discussion, we missed it out. Never mind.